right, good morning. Welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com. The 1010XL app. We are live on Facebook. Good morning. We are recording in the 1010XL studios, and that will all be released out there on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, you name it, wherever you watch it, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. That's where you'll find Catching Up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by my good friends at Team Tommy Mac. You Facebook people that were on early, you heard about Code Ninjas, 5 great locations, codeninjas.com. Listen, get your kids into camp from ages 5 to 17. They're looking to learn all about coding, all about security, all about technology. They're going to be building games. They're going to be doing awesome stuff inside the classroom and out. They get them outside to do some exercise. So very well-rounded. 5 great locations, codeninjas.com. I'll talk about the rest a little bit later. A lot to get into. Draft is 2 days away, baby. I mean, it's getting exciting. And I tell you, I know I speak for a lot of you as well. Like, I'm constantly on Twitter. I mean, I'm just waiting to see what's happening. I mean, who's got the scoop? Who's got going? What's happening? What are you hearing? But we'll get into all of it. I'm going to give my pick at the end of the show as well, because we won't be on until Friday. But I'll give a pick at the end of the show. But before we get into it all, let's welcome in the Bachelor for another few days. His name is Grammage. Hi, Grammage.
The fiance tells me that we're busy this weekend. I don't know with what.
You're going to be pretty busy, I think.
I was just planning to watch the draft and chill. But
Absolutely.
She tells me we got places to do.
Well, I got great news. Not only am I getting my tux today, but my friends in Shalaram Hotel are hooking me up with a hotel room for the night, so down in St. Aug, so don't have to worry about trying to get home at night. So we'll see how long Tommy Mac lasts, but I'm going to do my best to last as long as needed. But it's going to be a great week and a great wedding.
From what you tell me, you hit the REM cycles pretty early, so.
It depends. My brain works different, though. Not different, but when I sit down on a couch at night, it's over. Because I swear my brain's like, oh, we're done? Oh, good. Let's go to bed. You know what I mean? Especially after I eat dinner. You know, now I'm not talking 7:30. I last time it was about 8:30. I started dozing off the couch. I got up again, and then Harley came home. Harley gets home around 9:30 on Monday. And then I went to bed. So I was kind of in and out of it for like an hour on the couch. But I'm telling you, I sit down and my brain's like, all right, let's take a nap. I guess it's time to settle down and not have to work so hard.
My fiance's the same. She cannot stay up on the couch.
Yeah.
Every show we try to watch, she falls asleep in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy because we have to start it over.
Yeah. My wife's the same. Yeah.
I can stay up till 4 in the morning, no problem.
Yeah, see, I can't. But I get up. Now, listen, I get up early. I'll get up. Today I was up at 4:30. I mean, I like it. I like it. I have no problem. I feel great. You know, I get a lot of work done in those early morning things, you know, or sessions. Take care of the dogs. Cats drive me nuts, but whatever. You just have a good time and get a chance to watch some footage. So I'm going to jump into what I saw with Will Campbell, if I may. So it's highlights. So they're his good things, you know, good plays. He kind of lumbers when he moves. You know, he's not a quick foot, quick hip. No, I know he's big. I know he's going to be physical. I know he's going to give you that grit. And he's athletic. I'm not saying he's not. He just doesn't look as fluid the way he moves as a more athletic left tackle. You know what I mean? And that's a little concerning. Now, he's almost better suited to play guard if that's the case. And I know everyone gets caught up in this arm length. I don't even know what my arm. I've got long arms. I don't remember what I measured at. I have no idea. I guess they take it from what? The chest out?
I'm not sure.
I don't even know either, right? Like, where do they take it from? So I know my, because I'm going to get fitted, I know my length for a fitted shirt is 37. I don't know what that means. I think that's from the middle of your back, though, all the way across your shoulder and down. I don't think that's arm length, right? Because you're not just from here. So whatever that is.
If you have a big chest, that would change that size.
Right. Yeah, right.
Versus if you're measuring just arms.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, but I got fairly long arms. So if someone has an inch on me in arm length, if I'm quicker than them with my hands, does it matter that they got the inch?
As long as you don't get it you don't let them get their hands inside.
Well, okay. What if you're quicker to the inside position?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. As long as you win.
So it does. Now, granted, if I have 30-inch arms and you have 36 or 7, yeah, you might have a little bit, but you're talking 1 or 2 inches. I don't think it matters. But that's not why I think Campbell might be a guard. And I wouldn't take him at 4 if I thought he was a guard. I have to watch more tape. It's not totally fair. And I watch a good amount today, but again, it's highlights. But you can see the way he moves. Doesn't bend. I don't know. He just seemed more lumbering than really athletic. Whap. You know what I mean? Like a real athletic with quick feet and quick hips. So I don't know. That's what I saw with Will Campbell on film today, anyway, or on highlight tapes.
You just said something interesting though, Tommy, because you said I wouldn't take him at 4, or I guess probably 5 too, if you truly felt he is going to play guard for me.
I don't think I would.
I think I disagree with that because now maybe not for this team necessarily. I'm just saying like in principle, because I think if I believe that guy is going to be a stud, no doubt, mauling guard, and I'm not saying Will Campbell.
Let's throw out a comparison, like because I just thought of the guy from the Eagles who we all love, that played at Dickerson, that played at Bama. If he's that, all day.
Yeah,
I don't think he's that.
Especially if I feel, and again, I'm not saying the Jaguars.
No, I know.
If I feel pretty good about my tackles in general, but I know I really need a guard.
Guy that didn't play guard, he played tackle.
Yeah, you're right. So, it's not an.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, I can kind of see what you're saying, but how do you know he can play guard?
With Will Campbell, it's not an apples to apples comparison.
Yeah,
I don't think, but
I like my guards a little bit thicker. I mean, he's big guy. He's 320. It's not like he's small. I like him a little bit roomier through the hips, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I know you've entertained it before, and we've kind of entertained it on this show. We've talked about it. I, at this point, don't really think moving Walker Little to guard is...
No, he's not a guard. He's not a guard. I think Van Lonen's a guard who, congrats, Cole, for signing. Sorry to cut you off, but he signed his restricted free agent deal.
So, with Walker Little, if I got to worry about his aggression and his hard-nosedness at tackle, guard, that's a nastier position, right?
You know, but here, and I've been thinking about this a lot. It is. You that's more like... That's like sumo wrestling.
Right.
Like, bang, and I'm moving you. All I got to move you is a little bit, but I'm moving your ass because you're big, I'm big, but I'm just more physical and better technician or what have you. So, yeah, I would say the guard position would be in that regard. But, okay, let's play a little devil's advocate on Walker Little. What if they can get him to play the way he needs to play? What if they can? Now, listen, and just so you know, I don't necessarily want to get rid of him. I'm not saying he's a turnstile. I'm not saying he's bad. I think he's okay. I think we need better than okay. I want better than okay at left tackle. But he's not better than okay, in my opinion, now because he's not as aggressive as he should be, because he doesn't finish like he should be. I've said it before. He's got all the physical tools to be a great left tackle. I mean, he's massive. And he is. He's a giant of a human being. He's Baselli big.
Yeah.
He's got everything Tony has. Maybe Tony was a little... I don't even know if I can say that. I think Walker Little probably as athletic, at least pretty close. But Tony was just an animal. Like, I'm going to kill you. Trent Williams type, that's what I need my left tackle to be. That doesn't mean he's got to get in fights and do all this crazy. Just be a physical, badass mofo at left tackle so I don't have to worry about you nor the guy that's across from you all game long. That's what I want. And if it's a guy that's an all-pro, I just expect a great battle. You know what I mean? You may get beat. You're going to beat him. But I expect a fantastic battle by my stud left tackle against their stud defensive end or rush.
Well, in that player's mentality, and Tony used to have this mentality, and it was part of what made him so great, is if I'm Walker Little, and if I'm going up against Myles Garrett, if I'm going up against T.J. Watt, if I'm going up against Hendrickson, if I'm going up against these guys, my mentality needs to be, I want to kick his ass.
Yeah.
not, oh man, he's really good, I hope I can hold my own.
Right.
And those are two different things, and Walker normally has a second mentality. To answer your question you said a minute ago, if this coaching staff could awaken that mean streak in him,
yeah,
I think you'd be talking about a top 2-3 left tackle.
No, I agree. I think he's got that in him. So can they? Maybe they can.
I hope so.
I mean, listen, I know, at least from the rhetoric that we've heard, it's love football. You heard it again from Tony on the hunt, right? You got to love football. Which, by the way, I've heard that so much this offseason, makes me believe what? We had too many guys in the locker room last year and the last couple of years that didn't love football. I'm not going to say all, because I know a lot of them did. There's no doubt a lot of them did. More than half loved it, but there might have been around half that don't, or a little bit less than half. You know what I mean? That don't truly love it, like just dying to play, dying to prove, can't wait to get out there and show what I'm made of, and try to win as much as possible. So that's going to be the message. So if you don't have that on the team currently, you're in play I'm talking to, they're probably going to find a way to get you out the door if that's not how it's going to be. And I got to believe, and I believe it to be true, that the message to the O-line is we are going to be physical. We are going to finish blocks. We're going to get after people. And if you're not up to the challenge, there's a door. Maybe not to that extent, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't think so the thing is, if Walker doesn't become this aggressive finisher, that may be keeping him off the field. That may be getting him in trade talks, right? Hey, and by the way, the contracts they mean a little bit, but they don't mean that much. And who knows with Trent Baalke, if he did it just to stick it, or remember what Khan said, especially with Walker Little's contract, what Khan said earlier in the season, I want our guys drafted, I don't want them developed, and I want them extended. Well, what did Baalke do? Here you go. I drafted Walker. We developed him. He's our left tackle. I just gave a big, nice little deal. Didn't I do good? You know what I mean?
Right.
But the new regime didn't do that deal. They don't care. That doesn't, and it's not such a massive, massive deal that you can't do something like either get rid of them or cut them, which I don't think they'll do that. The only thing I think they could do, especially if they go tackle early, is try to trade them and try to get them in a place to where, hey, man, we thank you for all your work and all that, but we're just going to go in a different direction.
With that contract, he would be an attractive trade asset. A left tackle that's got some experience. He's been decent.
Agreed.
And the contract is not. The contract is an extension for security for him.
Yep.
But the money Walker Little makes is he doesn't make Trent Williams money.
No.
He doesn't make that break the bank.
You can consume that and not be a big deal to you.
So if I'm and we saw last year when the Vikings traded for Cam Robinson in the middle of the season, if a team that's a contender as a guy goes down or whatever, we see how desperate teams become for tackles.
For sure.
100% that I agree. I forget the dude's name from Dallas that we signed in free agency, but between him,
he's a good one,
and getting Fred Johnson and
Wagbler or something like that is a name like that. Anyway,
you and I are in agreement that we both think at some point a tackle will be drafted. Maybe not first round, but at some point. I don't think that's by coincidence.
Yeah.
I think they want to push Anton. They want to push Walker. I think those guys will end up being the starters, but I think they want to make them a little bit uncomfortable in camp, especially Walker.
I think Anton will be a starter, and I think Walker's going to really have to earn it if they don't go tackle in the draft. And look, we know how the NFL is. What's he missing? Oh, that tenacity. Let me have him. You know what I mean? There's plenty of line coaches that are like, hell yeah, I'll take a 6'7", 330-pounder that can move like that all day long. Now let's just get him to fit into our system.
That's why traits get drafted.
Yeah.
And they always will.
No, yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see how that figures out. Again, Kovan Lannon does sign his restricted free agent tender, so he'll be a Jag, it looks like, which is great. A lot of buzz right now with Graham, Genty, and now Tet McMillan entering into the conversation. Jags going at 5. I threw out there on Twitter, I was talking to Dempsey about it, I called it a smoke screen, with Genty. I mean, it was basically Pete Prisco saying, I'm hearing a lot about Genty, and I think they could go that route. Could Tony be giving Pete some info, maybe. I don't know. They worked together for a long time. I don't know. I don't really care if he does or not. But to me, I think it's more of hey, let's get someone enticed to jump us. And I do think there's a good chance somebody may jump the Jags at 5, get to 4, and take Genty. I don't know. Here's another thing, too, I have for the show. Is like, okay, I know you don't look at it totally like this, but you do if it works out. So your first pick, you want to be a star. There's no doubt. But you got to hit on your second pick, too. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe even your third. And maybe after that, it becomes a crapshoot. Like, you know, these mock drafts are funny to me. 6th, 7th round. You have no idea. Most of you don't even know the player, who they are. Maybe AI fills it in for you. I don't know. But nonetheless, those guys are crapshoot guys. And you might find gems. Plenty of guys that are 6th, 7th rounders, even free agents that don't get drafted, that have incredible careers in the NFL. But you got to back up, at least in my opinion, right? You got to back up that first-round pick. So say they go Genty. That next pick is very important for me. And you better go O-line. I mean, in my opinion. Unless there's somebody there that you got so high off the board, you know what I mean, on the board that's way above anything there. Because you still got to address the O-line. I saw a mock this morning. I forget which one it was, but they had one like guard taken in the 4th round, and that was it. I was like, man, we better address this line a little bit more. I'm not saying we got to flood it, but O-line and D-line, I want to see at least 1 to 2 on each. I mean, you got 10 picks. That's only 40% you're investing in up front. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying in the first 4 picks, but I want an O-line, D-line, a playmaker, and a DB out of those first 4 picks. I hope it works out some in that fashion, whoever that may be. Because, you know, you look at like, okay, you don't go Genty. Say you go Membu, or you go offensive. I don't know if you go Campbell there, but let's just say you go Membu. Well, who are you going next? Like, do you get Burden if he's there, the wide receiver?
Yeah.
You know, the third rounder, what's the kid out of, he's like lightning quick, ASU, Scatabo. Yeah. Third round, you know what I mean? You see him in that, like, because that matters, right? Okay, I know I didn't get the top, maybe can't miss prospect, but I got a really good football player.
Yeah. That's
going to help me win games.
Right.
I'd love to have the superstar that goes to the Pro Bowl every year and all that kind of stuff, but I want the wins more than that, right? And I don't think just adding Genty all of a sudden, you know, our O-line's just going to be this juggernaut of an offensive line. Maybe. I mean, look, you know, you got the center from Tampa, right, who knows the system. Got beat out by a rookie. It happens. I'm not saying he's a bad football player, but there's a reason for that. Why, I don't know, but he did. So does he come in and is he better than Morse? I mean, Morse wasn't bad. Morse had a pretty good year overall.
Yeah.
Is he going to be? He's there because he knows Liam Cohen's system, probably first and foremost, which is great. That's very valuable to have. But is he that good of a center that he's the center and he's going to upgrade the O-line?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Macari, right guard? Okay. Yeah, you could probably say he'll probably be an upgrade, right? But how much? Anton? Which Anton are we getting?
Yeah.
Who are we getting? Like, are we going to get the kid that came out, you know, first year and had something to prove, or the second year where he didn't look like he loved football that much? I don't know. He didn't play like it. You know, I thought Ezra had a really good year overall. I thought Ezra was probably the top performing offensive lineman last year for the team. And then you got Walker, who's okay. So, okay, and I know what you think. Like, I've seen it, you know, well, look what he did with Tampa's running game. Okay. Does he have the guys? I don't know. We don't know that. I don't think he knows it.
I think he's got the backs. I don't know if he has the guards.
I think he's got the backs for sure.
Yeah.
I think you can win. And again, what is the mindset for is it to hit the home run and have a superstar, or is it to get guys that are really good at football that are going to help me win? Because a lot of those guys that help, when you win, more guys get named to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? You'll see 7, 8 guys. And if you can take those 7, 8 guys and you lose, like 2 of them make it. Or 1 of them makes it.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
There you go. Good call.
Well, I think it's like when you look at a draft in totality, Tommy, I feel like, obviously with trades and stuff, some people end up with less and more picks in this. But just say, for argument's sake, you end up with 7 picks for 7 rounds.
Yeah.
A great draft doesn't mean you drafted 4 superstars.
Right.
A great draft means you probably drafted 1 superstar and 2 to 3 really quality starters.
Yep.
That's a great draft.
Yep.
It probably, ideally it's your first round pick. Sometimes it's your second, but your first round pick is still a really quality starter, and then your second round guy was a home run or what have you.
Yep.
But to your point, my first round pick, I'm ideally getting somebody that the entire league knows who they are, right?
Yep.
And then, but my second pick, my third pick, probably my fourth pick, those guys need to be dudes that I can rely on every Sunday.
First of all, I've always thought, I know why you go in the first round, because A, you're a good football player, and or you're just so athletically gifted that they're going to take a chance on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's both.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's one or the other. Second, third, and second's a little bit more like the top of the second's a little bit more like that. But when you get past that, then it's the football players. They didn't get drafted higher because they lacked, I don't know, an inch in their arm length, or a tenth in their 40, or a couple inches in their vertical. But they're really good you got to hit on those. Those third rounders, second round, they got to be starters. Or at least significant players right away.
Yeah.
That's where you find your ball players. And I went through a list. There's a good group of them in that where we're picking. Yeah. We should be able to get a couple good football players.
I think you hit it. You hit the nail on the head earlier in the show when you were like, the big sexy pick is obviously 5, or if they trade, or whoever ends up being the first round pick is like what everyone's talks about. I'm more excited this year to look at 2 through 4. What are we going to end up with?
Right.
I'm really excited because that, to me, and we just talked about this. That's the meat and potatoes of the draft.
Right.
That's the team building of the draft. That's you hope that first round pick, especially if you're picking in the top 10, really elevates your ceiling because you're hoping you get a star in the league.
Right.
That 2 through 4 and sometimes even 5 is what builds the floor of the team and raises that floor.
Yeah.
The Jaguars are a 4-win team right now. That's the reality. That's what they put out on the field last year.
Yep.
You draft really quality players in that time that pair with the free agents they would have got. Maybe that makes it a worst case. They're a 7-win team. Yeah. And then if those top end guys, now they're an 8, 9, 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And those guys like in the 5th round, 4th round, they may not start right away, but when they're needed, they don't skip a beat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they can play the game. That's what you got to find, and that's extremely. Look, take Brian Thomas Jr. At where he was taken. That wasn't a sexy pick. That was a great pick. You know what I mean? I mean,
the best pick of Trent Baalke's GM career, without
a doubt. At least to date,
the Jaguars.
Yeah. I mean, look, what did he go? 20? Was it 20? 21? He was 17, but then he dropped a little bit, didn't he? Because we traded back. Regardless, it was in the early 20s, I think, or late teens. I mean, if they redrafted Brian Thomas Jr., he'd be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Right?
He would have gone. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, still remains a little bit.
Yeah.
I think between Brian Thomas, it was very like it's Marvin Harrison Jr., it's Malik Neighbors, and then there was like a little bit of a gap, and then Brian Thomas. Yep. He's
the other kid though from Washington that went to the Bears.
Yeah.
But he was never cracking that top 3.
No,
pre-draft.
There was always a gap between those top 3.
No,
right,
BTJ. Right.
BTJ is not only in that mix, but arguably at the top of that mix now.
Right.
It was the best pick. It's true, and I think most people would agree with this. To trade back, get value, and get Brian Thomas Jr., it was the best pick of Baalke's GM.
Well, and you think about the player. So you got the talent all day long. You got the attitude all day long. You got the want. You got the love. I mean, that's a fantastic pick.
Brian Thomas Jr. is a perfect example of what I was saying earlier with Walker Little.
Yep.
When Walker Little plays a premier defensive end of the game, I get the sense that his mentality is less, I'm going to go kick his ass. Yep. It's more, oh, man, he's really good.
I hope I don't screw it up kind of deal.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. Let me at him.
Who did he go up against week 1?
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Cooked him.
Cooked him.
Yeah. Got on top of him. He's like, I'm here all day, baby.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
You can't guard me. And it's
I know.
But that mentality is a big reason he's a superstar. It's the ability, but it's also like the mentality that when I go on the field, I'm the best dude out here.
Yep.
And your first-round picks need to – if they
Absolutely.
draft Mason Graham, he needs to think no center and guard can block me.
Right.
Or if they draft Genty, he needs to think nobody in that second level is tackling.
Yeah, which is not, he's gonna get hit plenty.
100%. And that doesn't mean that's always even true.
And he's a great player. I know he's
But
great.
I think it's really, really, really important that this locker room gets more guys in there that think that way.
Yeah, for sure. And they didn't have it. You can tell. That's why we're talking about this whole love the game, love the game, love the game. They clearly didn't have enough that loved the game. And that's going to be a big one, which is good. Listen, I've been preaching it for 2 years. The attitude needed changing. And looks like they are going to change it. All right, so look, you get into the third round. I was just going through some mock drafts and looking at, like, common names that you're seeing. Right? You see Scatterbo, kid out of Arizona State. I mean, that would be exciting. Not that we need him, but
beast.
In that round, if he's your best player available, you just take him. Because he's going to be a playmaker for you, regardless. You find a way. And if you got to move some guys, fine. Then you do it. It just happens to work out that way. I see Ozzie Trapillo, and I know Ozzie a little bit because he went to Boston College, met him a couple of times. He is a beast of a right tackle. He's not going to play left, but, man, he can play right all day long. He's 6'8". He's 320 pounds, moves very well. His dad was a player. His dad played for the Saints. A lot of you New Orleans Saints fans out there remember Steve Trapillo. He was a massive guard who died way too young. Had died of a heart attack, like early 50s or something like that. Way too young. But Ozzie's the real deal. Someone's going to get a steal.
You sold me at 6'8", 320.
And he can move, and he's got an attitude.
Yeah.
And those BC kids are tough, man. That's just the way they are. They're gritty out on that football field. You see the kid from Norman Lott, from defensive tackle from Tennessee, which is interesting. He's a big boy. Omar. Let me get my glasses on. Make sure I got that. Yeah, Omar. The Savialea kid. I've seen him a lot. The offensive tackle from Arizona. We're going to have to address that. Tonka Hemingway out of South Carolina, 61 games, had 9.5 sacks. Here's a question. I thought about this. It just ding. It's like the light bulb on him. So, back to Mason Graham. He dominated his senior year. His sack total was 3.5 sacks, wasn't it? Is that factual? I think it is.
I believe it was a low sack number, so that sounds right.
Why don't all the stat nerds jump on that? Like, wait a minute, he dominated, but he only had 3. You have 8.5, 9 sacks? That seems like more domination to me.
Because the stat nerds don't like sacks. We've talked about this. The stat nerds will tell you that he led the league. He led
pressures.
The Big Ten in pressures or something.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the show, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm glad you and I are in agreement on this, that I hate that stuff. I hate it.
Yeah.
How many times...
You're overrated.
How many times did you... I know it's different positions, defensive end versus tackle, but how many times did you watch our Jaguars on Sunday and Josh Allen seemingly was mostly a non-factor, and then on Monday you saw some graphic from PFF
right.
Had the most pressures of the weekend.
Yeah.
And it gives everyone this idea.
Yeah, false idea.
It gives everyone this idea that he's in the Myles Garrett Watt conversation. He's just not.
They do it on the offensive line too. You'd be like, oh no, he grayed out at a 92. You're like, wait a minute, I saw him get beat like twice. How does that work?
I watched him give up 2 sacks. I watched it.
Right. And rewatched it on the film.
Right.
Unbelievable. But why? I don't know why that, because that's not dominating. And he had Kenneth Grant next to him, who's I want to see that guy in the NFL. I watched his interview yesterday on ESPN. I'm like, now I'm like, I'm really into it. It's exciting. I can't wait to see the first round, man.
Unfortunately, Tommy, I'm not, I wish you would, I'm not 100% convinced Kenneth Grant falls out of the first round.
No, I know.
Because, Jesus.
Someone's going to come up and grab him.
Imagine you get a big O lineman at 5, and then you go get me Kenneth Grant.
Oh. Now, that Tyreek Williams out of Ohio State could be had. He's a big-bodied defensive tackle. I just like more of a nose. We don't have a nose on the team. We don't have a nose on the team. And I'm not wasting Mason Smith there, and I'm not wasting Jefferson there.
Yeah.
I'm not. They'll get beat down over time. It's a lot. You gotta be built differently to be a nose tackle. I want a true. You know, it's funny too. Grammy, you and I have been clamoring for a true nose tackle since Doug was hired, and he didn't do shit about it in 21. And we're like, what? Man, you don't have anybody. And then we're gonna see him get pushed down the field over and over again. What's that?
Devon Hamilton playing now.
No, I know. And I thought Devon was going to be a player. I still think he's more of a 3 technique, but you load your line with 3 techniques, someone's got to play nose. When you don't go out getting a nose, one of your 3 guys has got to play nose, and they're not built for nose. Now, granted, when it's a 4, down line and you're in the nickel, you're more over the guard, so that's a little bit different. But when you're in that base, your 3 techniques got to play on the nose, and they get worked most of the time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, and I think this is basically the same conversation, but between 3s and 1s on my D-line, that's where really it affects if you're playing a 3-4 or 4-3. I don't think it's that big of a difference for the linebackers necessarily, that big of a difference for the D-ends necessarily, but you know defensive football better than I do, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like we've always said this, like, if you don't have that dominant nose that can really take up 2 guys,
right,
and you just have 3s that are kind of just playing at that position.
Well, here's
for a 3-4.
Here's all right, 3-4 or 4-3. The key to the nose tackle is that guard doesn't get a free shot at my linebacker.
Yeah.
I don't care what defense you're playing. When you're a 3, if I know my center can handle the nose by himself, my guards are going to have a day. They're going to have a day. They're going to run right at the backer. The backer's going to have to come up and thump him as best he can. And over time, that guard will wear his ass out because it's just a matter of physics. The nose tackle is there, to clog up the middle and to keep that guard from getting or center. So when they get double teamed, Jurkovic was great at it, and he wasn't an overly big guy, but he was a technician. Jurkovic would get in their pads and just yank a little bit, just to pull their shoulder down a little bit, and they couldn't get a free jump. They had to handle him with a combo block because he was so quick and he was a good technician. So they had to do that, and that just helped us. Even as a 4-3 Mike backer, those linemen, they have to deal with that nose. It's not a free rush. So you double team and one's going to come off. If my nose can hold that guy from coming off, guess what my backer's doing? He's running free to the ball. Ray Lewis made a living doing it. Ray Lewis is one of the greatest of all time. Ray Lewis was hardly ever blocked. I mean, was blocked, but a lot of times he had free reign because he had Saragusa, because he had Sam, the other big defensive tackle they had. He was a monster, both of them. One at nose, one at 3. And he barely got touched. I remember the year that they didn't invest in something like a defensive tackle, and he wasn't as effective. And he went to them. He even made a play. He's like, let me be me. Every middle linebacker would love that conversation with the organization. Hey, let me be me. Keep these big guys off me so I can go hit the running backs. It's more my size. That would be fantastic.
How did the conversation go if you had gone to Coughlin?
Yeah.
Like 98.
Yeah,
like, let me be me.
Yeah, I'm going to let you be you. Go work for the insurance company. Good luck. Go get a job in real estate, Tom. You can go be you then, all right? That's it. No doubt about it. But that's what we need personally, I think, up front. We're going to need an edge off, so we're going to figure that out. Tate Ratledge is a guy that comes up to guard from Georgia. Will he be there in the 3rd round? Possibly 2nd. I don't know if I'd take him with our 2nd, but I'd look at him in the 3rd. Deion Walker, he just looked a little stiff to me, the defensive tackle out of Kentucky at the Combine. He did the position drills just a little bit. I don't know. He's 3rd rounder, so maybe that's why he's not a 1st rounder, but he's big enough, strong enough, tough to block. Might take a chance on him. But there'll be guys like that, Ozzie, Cam, Omar, Deion, those guys, Jonah, Marcus Embaugh, the Purdue offensive tackle, who they think can play guard, maybe in the 4th round. I don't know. I'm just looking at different mocks. And to me, if they're all in the same kind of area, they're all going to be kind of in that area. And I looked at probably seven or eight this morning. They all seem to be in that same area. So those are the ones you got. Miles Frazier, LSU guard. We need, look, I like Ezra. I do. But I want someone to come in and try to take his job. I think that's very important.
In a perfect
very,
world,
very important.
In a perfect world, I wish every single like all 5 starters had someone directly behind them
they were worried about.
Yeah,
that's tough to do, especially with contracts. But at least,
and we don't live in that perfect world. But
No.
if can I have 3 of the 5 genuinely feel pushed for their job?
Yeah.
Or can I have at least one backup guard that's pushing both starters?
Yeah.
Or tackle, same thing.
Well, look,
I think they legitimately have 2 tackles that are going to push the 2 starters.
Yeah.
I legitimately think that.
Listen, you got to factor in Van Lanen now, too, that he signed. And I think he can play guard. I really do. And if I'm him, I might even say, hey, can I have a shot at left guard or right guard or whatever?
We were both fans of his.
Yeah, he's a tough, gritty guy. He's athletic enough, big, strong. I liked him in camp. I remember watching him in camp. I'm like, all right, this kid's kind of...
So, do you agree with me, Tommy, that by the end of the draft, when the 7th round is over,
yeah,
and you're looking at the entire class, they need to come away with 2 offensive linemen in this draft?
Yes.
Be a 1 tackle, 1 guard, however they choose to do it. Maybe one's a 5th round guy and one's a 2nd round, or however. And then I think they need 1, if not 2, defensive linemen as well.
Just give me a big nose, and then get me an edge. Give me a big nose, give me an edge.
So we're in agreement, though, that 4 of the picks need to be big people on either side.
Yeah,
of the
and I think, again, it's 40%, right? You got 10 picks, so it's 40%. That at least from what they're saying, it seems to be adding up. That's an educated guess, right? Because what's Liam said, you got to have, and we know this. We know this. I mean, how many times under Doug Peterson's team, no disrespect to the man because he's had a great coaching career overall, we would say our team got punched in the mouth and we couldn't answer. Punched in the mouth, couldn't answer.
100%.
Punched in the mouth and didn't answer. And it almost seemed like that became the blueprint to beat Doug Peterson's Jacksonville Jaguars. Punch him in the mouth, out-physical him, and you'll probably win the game.
Maybe not 2022, but in 23 and 24, did we ever have a single game where we felt like the Jaguars out-physical? One game, when they played the Patriots in London this past season. I think they out-physical the Patriots.
Yeah.
The Tank Bigsby ran all over him that day. Other than that, in the last 2 years, was there ever a game where it just physicality, the Jaguars just said, we're going to win the street fight today?
Listen, it's hard to say yes, right? Because watching the tape, look, many times on Mondays when I watch the tape, the game replay, there's plays with the D lineman getting pushed way back. I mean, 300-pound men being thrown down the field 5-10 yards. And not just one game. And not just all, I'm not saying all game either, but enough to where you're like, come on, you can't stop the run doing that. You can't do anything. You had no push up front.
And something that I appreciate about you, Tommy, because you bring up this a lot, even when people when you know you're gonna get pushback. That ain't coaching, man. That ain't scheme.
It's attitude.
That ain't scheme. That's you simply lining it up and not being tough enough.
Saying F you, I'm going to kick your effing ass,
right.
And after the game, I'm going to be cool. But during the game, You're the enemy, and I'm coming after you.
100%.
I got to win today, and I don't care if you lose. I don't want you to get hurt. I want you to stay healthy. I wish you nothing best about your career, but I'm going to make your day miserable today.
And I know we've kind of poked fun at the slogan that Gladstone keeps saying, the intangibly rich, but. Yep. To me, that's what intangibly rich means.
That's what he's saying. He's just doing it in a nice Harvard type way. You know what I mean?
But to me,
clean cut and proper.
To me, that means dudes that are inherently born with the desire to kick ass.
Or just to compete to the highest level. Like, it matters. Right. Like, everything matters.
They're
like
legitimately pissed when they lose a race.
Every possession matters. Every snap matters. Every at-bat matters. Every pitch. Like, I don't care what sport we're talking about. Every shift in hockey, it matters. Like, you are trying to prove something every single time. And they're there. There's plenty of guys out there that love this game, and they should love it with the way they're treated, man. They should wake up and pinch themselves that they are so lucky and blessed to be in the greatest profession of all mankind, being a professional athlete. There's nothing better. Maybe acting, maybe musician. I don't know. I've never done that, but there is nothing better than being a professional athlete in this world, in my opinion. And if you play it right and your body holds up, you can have a tremendous life, tremendous career, tremendous life, can everything you've always dreamed of. Your family can, everybody can. Everybody that's associated with you can. But to not have that grit, to not want to be just so good, the money's good. You want guys that say, yeah, I want my value, but it ain't about the money. It ain't about the money. It ain't about the fame either. It's about winning, because there's nothing like winning. There's nothing like winning in life and in sports and in business. When you get a good sale, when you win the day in work, you're like, I feel great. I want to do it again. I want more, right? Same kind of thing. You know, it's not about the money and the fame. It's about winning, because everybody wins when you win.
Something that
everybody.
Something I thought was interesting the other day. I heard Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics coach, he was on a podcast the other day. And I thought it was interesting because they won the championship last year. They're really good, obviously. And he was talking about how, like, when they lose games, he'll think back to a practice and training camp that was flat and bad, and he'll be like, that's why we lost that game.
Yep.
It'll be months after the fact. And the staff from last year, there's no way they ever thought like that.
Well, we went through that. We'd be like, there's no way you can go through the week after week after week, go through the week making no mistakes, but then making the same mistakes on Sunday week after week. There's no way.
And I think
there's no way that happens.
I think it's back to what we were just saying, Tommy, about, like, to me, that's what Gladstone is trying to say when he's talking about being intangibly rich and everything. To me, it means, like, between the staff and the players, you know, everyone cares about how they perform on Sunday.
Yep.
When the lights are bright and everyone's watching you, everyone cares about that.
Right.
But this team needs more guys that week 13 of training camp, third team period, it's hot, we've been out here for a while, and, you know, this day is sandwiched between two other full padded days, and I lose one rep in that circumstance, I'm furious.
Yeah,
I'm pissed.
Yep.
And if I win, I'm maybe talking a little mess to the other guy. I'm like, yeah, let's go, let's get, like, that kind of thing. I never got the sense last year that was there.
No.
And that
more than last 2 years.
You can't just loaf through those times.
Yeah.
And then decide on Sundays, well, now I'm going to play.
No, if you don't prepare during the week, you can't just show up.
That works.
No,
I thought during the week too, but months before.
Oh yeah.
Right now, we're on the field at OTAs.
Right now, man, I'd be doing taekwondo and boxing and all types of stuff.
Like if De'Ami Brown runs a route with Trevor and their timing's off, they should both be pissed.
Yeah.
They should be like, no, we're doing this 10 times till we figure it out.
Let's fix it.
Well, because if that's the mentality, then Sundays are going to take care of it.
Did you see that crazy rumor on Twitter? I didn't even answer. They tagged me. I forget who it was, but that there's rumors they're going to trade Trevor and pick Shedeur Sanders in the draft. That's just wild.
The internet's one hell of a place.
I know. And you know, people are like, oh my gosh, no way. I'm just like, I'm not even going to touch that, man. That would be wild. Anything could happen, but I highly doubt that would happen. Catching up with Tommy Mac, brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Check out TommyMac.net, please. You'll see this show. You'll see the horse's mouth, all my celebrities on it, including Coach Dave Campbell. We broke down a draft last week. That's right on the front page of TommyMac.net. Of course, Carbon Man Flooring for all your flooring needs. Chris Lucero's bail bonds to get you out of jail quick. Morgan & Morgan when you get injured. They are the best. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling to take care of all your junk and removal needs. Azar Sausage, the best sausage in town. Code Ninjas, talked about them earlier. Get your kids into camp. CodeNinjas.com. Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, the #1 commercial real estate firm right here in Northeast Florida in the land. The Baracus Group, BGSJax.com. Hey, get your protection. Business, personal, they're the group I am Honored to endorse them. Salt Air Inn and Suites. They're kicking ass, man. They're always loaded up with tenants. Make sure you check them out at visitsaltair.com. Family Tradition Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's hot sauces. They're the hot sauces on our table. They should be the hot sauces on yours. Family Tradition Specialty Foods.com. And Freedom Finance, my man Courtney Myers, helping you out with all his fractional CFO services. Check them out at freedomfinance.llc. Thanks to 1010 XL, part of the family. Cam Jurgens gets extended. Man, I tell you what, that Philadelphia knows how to pick O-linemen, don't they? Now, you take Jason Kelce, one of the greatest centers of our time, of modern day. He was great. He was awesome. I love Jason Kelce as a player. I don't know him as a person, but I like what he does. But I'm just saying, like, as a player, perfect center. I mean, perfect. The temperament, the athleticism, being able to pull, all of that. Everything. The smarts, everything. Yeah, he had it all. Strength, everything.
He called the protections for them.
He did it all. He was great. Now, granted, being there so long, you should be able to.
Yeah, of course.
But what do? They draft Cam Jurgens, develop him, takes over last year. I'm not saying he's Jason Kelce, but they don't miss a beat. Well, and now they reward him with an extension for $68 million.
Well, we've talked about this 100 times before.
How do they hit on him, is what I'm saying, and we can't hit on our guys. How do they hit on their own line like that? And D-line.
We've talked about this 100 times before on the show, Tommy. It's not a coincidence that the same teams tend to stay good, and the bad teams tend to stay bad.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not. We look at draft picks, especially, way too much in a vacuum. Oh, this guy, we picked this guy. He's not performing, therefore it was a bad pick.
Right.
Well, maybe you're not putting him in a position to develop and succeed and get to where he needs to be, when another organization would and does.
Yeah.
Why does every draft pick from the Ravens seem to always pan out? Every single time.
Good call.
The Steelers.
You know why.
100%.
Why?
Toughness. Development.
But that, and they pick the right kind of player.
That's true.
They got to fit the culture, and they don't waver. If you don't fit the culture, we don't want you.
Yeah.
That's Pittsburgh. You just named them all. Baltimore, there's a certain kind of player that plays for Baltimore.
100%.
Right? That's fair to say.
100%.
The Giants back in the day, certain kind of player that played for the Giants. You know? Patriots, only certain kind of players could play for Bill Belichick.
Yep.
And vice versa. He wasn't going to let you just play if you were some kind of diva. You had to conform.
The Niners fit into this.
Niners,
Chiefs,
Green Bay, Chiefs. Why are they always there in the running? Because not only are they ready to go today, they plan for the future.
And
gosh, remember after 2022? Oh, we don't need anybody. We got them all. They're all coming back. We're gonna be great. 2023 was like you know that old saying. Everybody's got a plan by Tyson. Yeah. Everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the face. Yeah. That was our Jags in 2023. 100%. And San Francisco 49ers was Mike Tyson.
Yep.
And that just showed the world how soft we were overall.
That's exactly right.
So the point, and by the way, I think that, and that's what I love hearing what's coming out of Liam, James, Tony. They're all saying the same thing. Love football, intangibly rich. They care about the game. They care about the performance. We got to have, and by the way, Jacksonville, you deserve it. You deserve all those kind of players, man. That really care about winning in front of you.
Well, because it's not, I think a lot of these franchises, because it's a lot of the franchises that have been around for a long time that tend to have those types of cultures that we talk about and draft the right guys. It almost feels like sometimes it's like when they put that helmet on, that's when they get tough and gritty. And it's like, no, it's exactly what we say. Like, any franchise can do it.
Yep.
It just takes coach, GM, EVP, like Tony, if they have
all
something
same
like that.
Page.
So I'll be like, no, this is what we're doing.
Right.
And the Detroit Lions were terrible.
Yep.
For how long?
Yep.
That one time they get a clean sweep and they get a coach and a GM in that both say, we're drafting tough SOBs.
Yep.
We don't care.
That care about football.
Correct. We're drafting tough SOBs that care about football and want to beat your ass.
Yep.
And guess what? Now they're one of the premier teams in the league.
Yeah, right. And
they got great play calling, and Ben Johnson was awesome and all this stuff, but I believe the meat and potatoes of why they've really become one of the premier teams is because of Penei Sewell. And because of Jack Campbell.
The kind of guys they bring in, yeah.
You know, Gibbs and Montgomery in the backfield.
Well, by the way, they're guys like their head coach.
Yes.
That's how Dan Campbell played the game. He was a fiery son of a gun, man. He got after it. That's the kind of team they want.
I'll never forget
and you can all have it. We can have it.
I'll never forget that clip of him at Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
When they were kind of loafing during full pads, and he's like, guys, if I didn't have to put you full pads, I wouldn't, but that's not going to prepare you, man, and I care too much about you.
That's right.
And, like, would Doug Peterson have ever done that? No disrespect. Like, would he have done that with this group?
Look, in Doug's defense, him and Trent were never on the same page.
No, that's true.
So he didn't feed him. The GM's supposed to feed that coach with the kind of guys that thrive under that coach's direction, philosophy, culture. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. So we move on. All right, real quick before I give my pick, you got a pick? Because you're going to be off Friday. You got a pick? Think about it, and we'll get back to you.
Give me
I know you've got an idea who you want or think, but Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, you know, I try to defend you. I watch your documentary, you know. But when did you become such a Betty, man? I mean, seriously, you're such a diva. It's like, what is... Okay, do I agree that they flew you out? Wow, you had to go out private? Poor guy. Had to fly out private all the way from Cali to New York. And Aaron Glenn basically dismissed you in person. Why did he do it that way? I don't know. Maybe just make a clean sweep. But then you go on your show, McAfee show or whatever, and complain about it. And act like, you know, I'll tell you when I'm ready. I mean, I'm almost like, I can't even do it because I'll get in trouble. Like, get out of here. Like, you're the league, 4-time league MVP. Go retire. You'll make it to the Hall of Fame. Good for you. But you know what? I'm not putting up with this shit.
Well, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not. I don't want to hear. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't want to hear about you're in a relationship now. Who cares? So is thousands of other guys in the league. Or you got some heavy stuff going on. Who doesn't have heavy stuff going on? If I'm the Steelers, I've had enough. I'm like, you know what, buddy? Smell you later. I've had enough of you. I don't care. You may help us. You didn't help the Jets. Granted, the injury, the year after the injury, that all factors in. I would imagine he's totally healthy. But man, if I bring him in, there's going to be rules. And if you don't like the rules, it's like what we're talking about. Then you're not coming. If I'm Mike Tomlin, if I'm any of them, I'm sitting there going, look, if you don't put this team first, if you don't quit saying stupid shit out on the internet, if you don't quit doing this stuff, you're not coming here. I'm done with you. Do it on your own. Do it in the off season. Do whatever, but you're not doing it under the guise of us. I'm just not having it. That's what they should say. He's become such a diva, and I was kind of like, I had empathy for him because of that documentary, because I feel bad or empathetic that him and his family aren't, at least from at that time in the documentary, they weren't together. Like, I have strife in my family. I don't like it, right? It sucks. Not my intermediate, not my wife and kids, but my family. Like, we're close, but whatever. I'm just saying, like, I had empathy for him because he's like, man, they don't get me. I don't get them. I'm not even, like, to not be connected to your mom and dad, it's got to be really for everybody. Because, you know, you love each other, but there's something, you know what I mean? Now, I don't have that with my mother. My mother's fantastic. But, you know, I had empathy. But then I see this. And then he goes on. He's like, you know, I'll tell him when I'm just like, bro, you know, you've let the ego get in your way. Edging God out. I know you probably don't believe a guy here from California, but whatever. You're edging God out. But you've let your ego get in the way, man. And now you think, I don't know. You know, that's the problem with people for me. And it's not just famous people. It's everyday people that suddenly come into money or start making money or start becoming wealthy or whatever. They change. They change. They act different. He's acting different. He's acting like, Mr. Diva, look at me. I'm 4-time MVP. I write the rules. And I just want the league to say, Mike Tyson. Punch him in the face and say, you don't make the rules, buddy. So sit down and shut the you-know-what up. I've kind of had it with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. And I was kind of pulling for him. And now I'm like, you know what? You're a DB, man. You're a little DB. And I'm not. You're a little C. With a Y at the end. You know what I mean? And I'm not into it. I'm not into it. I would not want that on my team. I wouldn't. I'd be like, bro, forget it. You're too much. You know, and sometimes the headache outweighs the talent. It just does. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth the BS. It's not worth the head coach having to go in front of the media every week and talk about Aaron Rodgers and what he said on the Pat McAfee show or whatever he says about whatever. You know what I mean? It's a distraction. I don't want that. You're either all in or not. That's what I like what I'm hearing about with the Jags. You know, you got to love ball or out, you know. And I'm sorry, I would stop all the extracurricular during the season for my Jaguar players. There would be no podcast.
Well,
I can't make you do that, but that would be the message. Do that later. Do that when we've clinched a playoff spot. No, don't do it then, because then you'll totally screw up the playoffs. Wait till the end of the year. It's just got to be total commitment, man, on and off the field. You represent the badge off the field. You got to play your ass off on the field. You got to prepare all the way through and do it the right way. That's all they're asking for, and it's a great gig. If you do it all the right way, you'll play a long time, man, and have a great career. So,
for a long time at the heights of their careers, we talk in terms of ability. We talked about Brady versus Rodgers for a while. Right?
Yeah,
kind of after Manning sort of felt.
As a player, I loved Rodgers.
Well,
loved him.
Those extracurriculars. That's the difference between 7 Super Bowls and 1.
Good point. Did you know?
And the 1 was 15 years ago when he was an entirely different person.
Did you know that? You know when Manning got all those commercials, they wanted Brady, and he turned them down.
I've heard stuff like that before. Yeah.
He didn't want it.
And the thing with Rodgers complaining about the Jets and him having to fly there and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like Aaron Rodgers has ever inconvenienced the Jets.
Yeah, right. You
know, he's only ever just made life super easy on them for the last 2 years.
Listen, if he went and just said, you know, it was kind of weird. I flew out there and I talked to, Aaron Glenn for like 20 seconds and just strange. Don't go on this rant that you control. I told them I have a relationship. I told them I got stuff going. So what? So does everybody else. You're no different than any other player. Right? You got players that are dealing with all types of shit off the field. You're no different. So don't be that prima donna stuff. I don't care who you are.
Well, because the problem is if Aaron Glenn and the Jets had not done it that way, and they had
over the phone or whatever, yeah, they'd be like,
complain about that.
Right. Well, and people would too. Wait, you cut him over the phone? You know what I mean? People would be like, that's so wrong. But no, whatever. He's too much, and he needs to come down. He needs to come down off those clouds, as that Bush tune says. They don't want to come down, but they got to come down. All right, it's time to make our picks because we'll be back on Friday, of course, a day after the first round. Looking forward to the second round. Looking forward to the whole weekend of watching who the Jaguars bring in for 2025 and beyond. Grammage, I'll let you go first, man. Okay, just because I'm that kind of person, and whether we pick the same guy, it's okay. I have mine in mind and who I'd like. And mine is at 5 or trade back. Now, I don't think they'll trade out of the top 10. Maybe to 11. Like after that, I think it gets too expensive. And I don't know the math, but I think you got to give up a second rounder. A lot of people don't want to give up the second rounder because that's where all the ball players are.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It may not be superstars in the list, but there's a ton of good football players, second, third round. We don't want to give those up. So that may be a little reluctance there. But whether they stay at 5 or not, I have my pick. But Grammage, go ahead since you're getting married this weekend, brother.
So I have a quick question because I have two potential. Is it who I think they are going to take or who I want them to take?
Let's just say both. Okay. But it's got to be one pick.
Okay.
So who do you think they're going to take? And you hope that they take him, but you think they're going to take him as well.
I believe in my bones that when the pick is in and we hear Roger Goodell say the name, they're going to say Mason Graham.
Mason Graham.
Yeah.
Okay.
But who I want is a different player. So
okay.
That's what I was asking.
So you think they're going to go Mason Graham? I don't think they're going to go Mason Graham.
Okay. I hope you're right because I don't want them to pick Mason Graham.
I think if you took the top players at the positions of need, they're probably all relatively the same, right? I mean, Graham compared to Genty. Yeah. Maybe Genty's a little bit higher because he's supposedly a can't miss.
Yeah.
But take the other positions. They're probably pretty close to each other as far as grades. Would you say that?
Outside of like Carter and Hunter, who will be gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Take Campbell and Membu. Probably pretty close.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm going need, and I'm going Armand Membu. And the reason is...
He was going to be my one.
Okay, that you want. The reason is, I think he has so much upside that he's just at the tip of the iceberg of what he can become as a player. He is a massive human being that can really move. He appears to have the right temperament. His stats are there. His accolades are there. He started a long time in the SEC. He can play the game. And again, his athletic score really, really jumped for me. And then watching the movie, like, holy cow, this guy's... That's what I'm talking about. If you want to go watch Will Campbell move against Armand Membu, like, just watch your highlights. And just watch your feet and your hips. You'll see kind of a different player. A little bit different. And I think that's why I would take Armand Membu with number 5. Or if, we traded back a little bit, it wouldn't matter to me. I've got to protect Trevor Lawrence. That's number 1. Would a running back like Genty protect Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. I think he's a hell of a player. But you got to have somewhat of a line, too. And we don't really know what we have. And you can all sit out there and say, no, we have a line. Well, you don't know what we have. They've never played together. You don't know half the players that they brought in. You've never really watched them. So I don't know. I'm hoping for the best.
Just because you know the names of the potential 5 starters on paper, and
it doesn't mean
that doesn't mean that they have some dominant, people confuse familiarity with good.
Right. Now, there's a lot of truth to that running game being on timing. Linemen in the back are on timing with each other. Now, that's going to get better. Because I think the timing was off a lot under Doug Peterson. But regardless, I think we need a stud left tackle. Now, my bold prediction is that they stay at 5 and take Armand Membu because they think the Jets is going to take him. And now there's word if Genty's gone, that's who the Raiders are going to take. And I would trade Walker Little in that scenario. I wouldn't have to, but for his sake, I'd say, Walker, thank you for your effort, your time. We wish you nothing but the best. We found you a home. And here you go.
Time for a fresh start for both sides.
Time for a fresh start for you, and we wish you nothing but... And I would too, man. I got nothing against the kid. Look, what did it for me was a couple years ago when he had every chance to steal that right tackle job. Anton Harris, or not Anton.
Cam Robinson?
No, the right tackle, Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Jawan Taylor, who was coming off an injury and had every opportunity to take that job. Every opportunity. And don't tell me he can't, right tackle, left, whatever. If you can play left, you can play right. If you can play right, doesn't mean you can always play left.
Well, he had the chance to take left tackle, too.
True.
When Cam Robinson
was out for the suspension.
And when he tore his ACL in 2022.
True. Yep.
And then Walker Little finished the season. It's no way if I'm a second-round pick like that had a lot of promise. It's no way that I'm not finishing that season giving them no choice but to make me the starter.
Yep.
It's no way.
Agreed. So I would do that. I would trade Walker, and I would select Armand regardless if I trade Walker or not. You can keep him if you want, but that's what I would do.
And that's who you'd want the most.
Oh yeah.
Then we're in agreement.
Yeah.
We agree.
You look. You've invested in Trevor. I wouldn't have. I made that very clear. I would not have paid him already. But whatever you did, and I wish him the best. I want him to be a great quarterback. I don't think he's one now, but I want him to be one. So protect his ass. Give him the best protection you can give him, which will help. Give him a running game, which will help with a better line. So I'm saying, and it's not just for this year. It's for years. Again, I want my left. Look, we know what we have out of Walker. And again, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's just not good enough for me. I want my left tackle to take care of whoever that guy across from him is. And I don't have to chip. I don't have to keep a tight end in. He's got him. He doesn't need my help. Because when you can do that and you can release all 5 of your targets, you understand that, right? I mean, when they blitz, your back's got to pick up the blitzer. But that means he's not going out for a pass. When your left tackle blocks that guy, you don't want to have to hold the tight end there to help him. You don't want to have the back to chip him. You want the back to get out free and get into his route so you can get him the ball. Not whack him one and then be the outlet, because that's all I can do. So that's why I want a left tackle. I want a stud left tackle that I don't have to worry about for the next whatever time. Now, granted, injuries happen, so we don't want anybody injured. But that's what I would take. So we'll talk about it on Friday, man. Can't wait. We'll do the horse's mouth on Thursday. We'll share that on TommyMac.net. Please take a chance there. And if you've seen my song out there, thank you for saying so many kind words about, man, what a life. I tell you, it is pretty cool. I'm at home and I'll say, hey, Alexa, play Man, What a Life by Tom McManus. And boom, the song pops up. And Siri does it too. So thanks to Damian Starkey, my friend who helped put it together, helped co-write it. And if you would, share it, download it, tell your friends about it, see if they like it, and we'll see what happens. But it was a great experience. Nonetheless, I want to thank Team Tommy Mac. You guys are the best, always there when you need them. You can also see them at TommyMac.net. Grammage, I'll see you Saturday.
Yes, you will. Yes,
looking forward to it. Thanks for the invite. My wife and I are very appreciative and look forward to celebrating your noodles, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And
you better bring your dancing shoes Saturday night.
Oh, me and my wife like to shake it, baby.
We
like to shake it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on my way to what'd you say, Michael's at the town center, right? Go get a tux. So
I've told everyone, every single person I invited, I've given them 2 rules.
Yep.
You got to come thirsty.
Okay.
And ready to boogie.
There you go. Perfect. You guys a DJ or live band?
DJ.
All right.
We went DJ because a lot of the music we like is more like EDM kind of. So DJ made more sense for us.
DJs are great.
Absolutely.
Music's great. All kinds of music. So I know a lot of you out there echo the sentiment to Happy Nooples to Grammage and his beautiful bride to be. All right, that's going to do it for us this time around here on Catch Up with Tommy Mac. Stay safe out there and stay cool. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. And, man, draft a couple days away, baby. I hope your team, whoever it is, picks the right player, and I hope our Jags pick a home run. That's it, man. A difference maker, regardless of position. I don't want a project. I don't want maybe a starter. I want a day one starter, period, to come out of this team and make a difference, and I hope that happens. So until next time, we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love. Have a great day and the rest of your week.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.